Hey everybody, this is Justin Publin. Man, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Wow, what a day yesterday, and if you missed it, there was a tornado or two or more in southern Wisconsin. The first recorded tornado in Wisconsin history in February, and also like the first tornado warnings issued in February. Pretty crazy. Uh, we're going to go in depth on some of the information around these tornadoes today. Man, I'm just kind of floored by the whole thing. I was shocked yesterday watching things go down, and I'm still shocked today trying to figure out, like, man, how all this happened, and it's just insane, really. So let's start off with the video. This one's from WKOW 27, and I think they're from Madison, but I don't know if it's from them. It's hosted on their site, so it could be anybody. But here's a view of the tornado. So that's one of the tornadoes, and I'm not sure if that's the first one or the second one. But man, pretty powerful looking tornado there. A little grainy on the video, but it's really special. This event here. Play forward a little bit. Um, yeah, so going into some of the information. So the National Weather Service in Milwaukee did a survey today. The tornado track near Evansville to southwest Jefferson County has been rated as a high EF2. Crews are still assessing damage, and there's no ETA on additional information at this time. So it sounds like they're toying with the idea that it could potentially become an EF3 pending further information, but at this moment it remains an EF2. I don't know if you caught this last night, but Reed Timmer commented on the tornado in southern Wisconsin, saying, he says, I bet this tornado in southern Wisconsin was strong. Full condensation to the ground beneath a base that is not terribly low requires one hell of a pressure deficit to the ground. So he's thinking this could be a strong tornado. Again, the EF2 rating today is kind of in line with that. The Wisconsin State Journal has a story out there about it, and all the news sites do. But here we got Tim Hallbach from the National Weather Service in Milwaukee talking about it. I'm not going to play that video. I always find it interesting the folks that got in the video around him. But again, these folks are likely doing a great job assisting with the survey. But any news video, I always kind of chuckle. There were two tornadoes that hit southern Wisconsin Thursday night, including one near Evansville that could be classified as an EF3. He said the one near Albany is classified as a high EF1, so that was the one further west. The Evansville area tornado would be classified higher than a high EF2. That's interesting. The tornado had winds of 130 miles per hour north and northeast of Evansville and was throwing debris east of Evansville 10 to 15,000 feet in the air. And I've seen video of potentially being up to as high as 20,000 feet in the air. Okay. We all know that EF5 is the strongest. I don't think we're talking about that at this point. But this is interesting. So Tim Hallbach says we're not considering it a 3 at this point, meaning an EF3. But they want to look at some aerial footage and talk with some experts on the damage they saw. So they're just gathering more information. Theoretically, this could become a bigger, stronger tornado. So here's an image, and I've seen some images today that just blow me away, especially this farm. Man, I feel so bad for these folks and anybody who's impacted by the tornado, but I mean, this is just crazy damage. And a lot of these buildings are pretty, I'm gonna guess, well maintained by this farming, homestead here. And it just blew them away. And we've seen a lot of storms over the years in Wisconsin, and not many of them do this damage to like farms and stuff like that. So it's pretty crazy to see. Let's go take a look at some of the radar. I'm picking this up from Thursday at 2 a.m. Here's 3 and 4 a.m. So this is Thursday morning, and you're going to see the storm go across southern Wisconsin. Again, not much anywhere else in Wisconsin, but specifically that area south of Dubuque to Milwaukee. So here you see the warnings go. And then it moved off, and just like that, it was done. So hit it and quit it really fast. On YouTube, there is a channel called Convective Chronicles, which I'll have a link to on the top in the description of this video, by Trey. And I wanted to play this for you because I thought this was super interesting to listen to.
So we start off this loop. Not much is happening with this convection, not much organization at all. But keep your eye on these southernmost storms here. Number one, this lead supercell. And number two, this kind of clustery looking storm complex back to the west. Now, as the lead supercell moves off to the northeast, it doesn't really do much. It tries to develop a hail core, tries to develop a little bit better supercell shape. It really struggles for the most part until it interacts with the storms back to the west. At that point, once the interaction is underway, it starts to take on a much more supercellular look, starts to develop a much more noticeable hook echo. And at this point, this is when we start to see tornadogenesis occur. You can clearly see it on velocity here. Not much going on at all for quite a while. As that supercell moves north, not much going on, and then eventually it starts to interact with the storms behind it. That is when the velocity couplet starts to increase, and then we have a significant, likely significant tornado once the supercell, the lead supercell, interacts with the storms behind it.
Again, please go check out the links in the description for this video. It's very interesting to listen to, and there's more to it as well. I thought the ending of this video about the correlation coefficient and the radar returns going up to 20,000 feet signaling damage were even more interesting. So here's a preliminary damage survey for the EF1 tornado that would have been near Albany, Wisconsin. Path length of 8.35 miles, an estimated rating of EF1. So that was the smaller of the two. And then if we go to the next one here, this is the Evansville tornado. Right now rated as a high EF2, and you can see how it curves off. It's a really interesting track. It's like a big long curving path there. Luckily staying away from any major city, but definitely coming close several times. With a max width of 500 yards and a path length of 24.5, so it covered a lot of distance pretty quickly. So we'll see what the survey reveals in the days ahead. I'm curious to learn more. And man, what a crazy winter it has been. Let's shift gears a little bit. We'll go into the 7-day forecast. There's not too much to talk about right now. Just kind of the same usual business here. It's been mild. It's going to stay sort of mild. And as I've said before, I think if it gets colder, it'll probably get colder to average. But the issue is we don't have that snow. We don't have the snow depth. We haven't built it. And so when it's very hard to get those average seasonal temperatures without it. So, but that's not a big deal. It's kind of making our winter more enjoyable. I think easier to get through. And I know everybody loves the snow for their snowmobiling and skiing, and there's businesses that depend on it, and ice fishing and all that. I think though that it's a nice little break, and who knows what next year will bring. You know, next year could just double down and be twice as cold as normal. So, looking at the short range right now, we see a little bit of snow potentially tonight in the far north, maybe up in the snowbelt regions, lake effect more so, and then a chance of snow maybe later this weekend. Light snow showers, I really wouldn't count that as accumulation later this weekend. Looking at the long range GFS, not too much to mention at the moment, as we have this high pressure that kind of descends into the late half of February, but I just don't foresee that doing a whole heck of a lot right now. Once we get to this segment, to the 250 hours out, I'm less confident, but I still feel very strongly about what I've said about February, and that it's likely to stay mild. As we move into March, maybe we'll get some other, potentially some interesting weather. Looking at some of the analogs based on teleconnections, March has me sort of intrigued. But yeah, that's all I got for you tonight. I really appreciate you guys watching, and again, check out those likes. Can't talk. Check out those links in the video description down below, and I will talk to you later.